In this episode, we spoke to one of our guys, Dan, who is the head of partnerships at Diminico Agency. He's the one that talks to all the prospective clients, vets people for suitability, checks out their brands and sees whether or not we can help them and scale them. So we get a little bit of insight into what we see in accounts on a day-to-day basis and the biggest levers that you guys can pull today in order to start getting results and getting your brand ready to scale it. So without further ado, enjoy the episode. Dan, the bloody man, Baldasso, what's going on, man?
Hey mate, how you going? It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have you here finally. So for those that don't know, Dan is our head of partnerships at the agency. He basically, and I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself in just a sec. I don't want to speak too much for you, but Dan's the guy that talks to all the different brand owners before they come on board, so we can see whether or not they're a fit, whether or not we can help them, kind of have a look at what's going on in their account and give them some constructive feedback and whatnot. So that they can then go away with and implement if we aren't a fit and we aren't or they aren't ready to work with us. So Dan, I'll hand it over to you to just give you a chance to introduce yourself. Tell the people a bit about yourself and kind of what you do on a day-to-day basis at Diminico Agency.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so pretty much my main role is speaking to prospective clients and understanding and looking at their whole marketing flow, things outside the ad account, obviously looking inside the ad account, their whole marketing strategy, and seeing what kind of problems or mistakes they're making and the potential of, getting good results with us. So when I chat to someone, I'm not there just saying, we're going to work with you, get you this result. It's a big part of it's actually knowing, is their brand even ready to, go to the next stage of growth, or what gaps are they having? What problems are they needing to solve? Have they even proven their model and stuff like that? Because, a big part of growing a successful brand is actually having a proven model and then being able to scale it and getting to an actual proven model. Not many brands get there, right? And then if you actually do get into the next stage of growth, even fewer brands get there. So I pretty much just speak to brand owners every single day, looking at their ad accounts, examining exactly what they're doing and giving them a whole bunch of advice around of how to get to the next stage of growth. Because a big problem that a lot of brands have is they only have access to their own level of data. They're spending, maybe 500, 2K a day, 5K a day. That's all they see. Whereas an agency like us, we manage $2.5 million a month in ad spend. Very quickly you see what's working across everyone. And obviously I'm speaking to all these different brands every single day as well. So I'm seeing a lot of ad accounts, but a brand themselves only see their own ad account. So really exposing them into a lot of different strategies that's working outside of their own eyes. Because often they're just narrowed down on, this is what's working for us, we just do this, but they don't see all of this other stuff out there that it's actually working. I mean, yeah, you might read a Facebook post or see this strategy or whatever, but it's unless you're actually consistently doing it and trying it and seeing what's working, you're just never going to be able to kind of take your brand from where you want it, where you are now, to where you really want to be and hit your goals. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis in the agency.
Awesome, man. So you mentioned kind of figuring out and talking to brands to determine whether or not they're ready. What does it mean if a brand isn't ready to grow? And kind of where do they need to get to, and what recommendations do you have for them? What do they need to focus on?
Yeah, so the main thing for when a brand say isn't ready is they haven't proven that they can profitably spend on their ads. If they can spend money on their advertising and get a return or very close to profitability or break even, then you're kind of at a stage where you've kind of proven your model to a degree. If you're just running ads and you're not making any sales, your conversions are crap, you haven't proven that people will actually pay for your product and your offering. Whereas if you're spending, for us, it's usually typically around minimum $500 a day in ad spend, where they've proven that they have been profitable. There's some campaigns there that are working good. And then it's my job to kind of look at, okay, where are all your problems or gaps that I can see that you could definitely improve upon that could take this brand to the next level? Because it's pretty rare. I mean, I've never got on a call with someone where they're doing everything good and they're just not, no one's ever doing everything good. There's always mistakes in their account that I'm seeing. And the big one, as I mentioned before, is just they just don't know what's happening, right? And for instance, you might be spending even 10K a day, but you don't know what spending 20K a day or 15K a day looks like. And an agency like us has the experience of getting there. But just come back and answer your question. A brand kind of isn't ready to kind of grow if they haven't kind of profitably proven their model that it can profitably spend on your advertising and make sales.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that really comes down to like, branding, messaging, product market fit, all of these things that you need to consider before starting to spend big, right? For the guys that haven't figured that out yet, what are some things that they can go off and do so that they can get to the point where they're profitably spending even just a couple $100 a day?
Yeah, so like the main people obviously we work with are brands versus say drop shippers. So like if you're just looking to try and make a quick buck and not long term successful in a business, this probably isn't super relevant to you because you're just trying to make money real quick and not and like scale it up and not worry about the brand and lifetime value. But if you actually want to build like a solid brand, the things you really want to focus on. The first thing is like you need to have a product that people actually want to buy. And whether that be it's a quality product, it's you're differentiating to competitors, good price, whatever it may be, or it's just like a really good brand experience. The product is the most important thing. You could have an amazing product with really bad marketing and still succeed. But if you've got incredible world class marketing and a shit product, no one is going to buy your product, or like very little people will, and you won't be able to grow. So the real main things you want to focus on, like I said, is your product. I mean, that's like the core thing. Like the brands that are really growing and are huge successes, they're you can see that they're different to other people in the market, or they were there first, or they've invented something. Like that's like the ideal situation. But obviously, not everyone is that. But if you can create like a really amazing brand feeling and messaging, that's the first thing, right? And then how does that kind of goes through obviously your product, and then that transitions into your whole website. So your website looking good, the branding, landing pages, product pages, whatever, and then it comes down to your actual creatives, so images, videos, ad copy, etc., and then obviously your media buying. So many people just try and go, I just want to set up ads to this garbage website and just see what happens. Like you're never going to be able to succeed if you just do that. Like you kind of need to work backwards, but obviously you got to start somewhere. Like if you're just starting a brand and you're launching ads, like it's very unlikely you're going to succeed straight away. Like you're going to just go through so many pitfalls of just running ads, losing money, and finally because you're testing different things, you're trying different segments of the market, different marketing messages, maybe different products or whatever, and then you build a brand around that. Or you kind of need to go through these different stages. No one just builds an epic brand overnight. Like it takes time. You maybe can build a dropshipping store over a short period of time, but if you want to actually build a successful long-term brand, you have to kind of go through this process that I'm talking about here.
Yeah, yeah, it really is part of the process, and that's a big part of the reason why we tell people that, hey, kind of the minimum benchmark is spending $500 a day. The reason why we tell people that is because the ones that have gotten to that point and are spending that much have been through that process, so that by the time it comes time to work with an agency or media buyers or marketers that are good at doing that one thing, being the advertising, that agency or whoever it is that they work with, when they ask for, certain creatives, or hey, can we work on this with the landing page or whatever it might be, they can actually the brand owners are more in a position to give the agency what they need to get the results and to best set them up for success as like a symbiotic relationship as well. So it's like a 2-week streak, and that's why they have to go through that process. Okay, cool. And then so the guys that are past that point then, because I think there's a lot we can learn from actually looking at those guys and all the accounts that you look at day in, day out. What are some of the common themes or commonalities that you see in these accounts, things that these brands are doing really, really well that, the ones that aren't quite there yet can actually learn from or take and implement?
Yeah. So I think the brands that are really doing well, they understand that their marketing isn't just about like making like high margins on the front end. And what this leads to, essentially, if you've got a really well established brand, you've got a really good back end. And what does that mean? It means you've got email marketing, maybe SMS marketing, good customer service follow up, maybe like Facebook groups, like fan pages. Like not every brand has all that stuff, but I'm saying the brands that are really, really succeeding well have these really solid back end structures set up in place, because they're getting a customer, and then that customer's buying from them again and again and again and again, whether it be a subscription or a multiples of the same product or just different products on their store. But they're really nurturing a customer over the lifetime of their journey with this brand. And that's where you can really grow a successful brand, because if you get a customer once, right, and you've treated them well, they've had a good experience with you, there's no reason why they're not going to buy from you again and again and again and again. So you can think, okay, my goal is acquire as many customers, acquire customers. Really cool. That's a good idea for sure. But if you can acquire those customers and also, squeeze a lot out of them over the lifetime of you having them as on your list, you're going to make so much more money. And then the beauty of that is, well, let's say you've got this really nice back end in place at the moment. Your ads don't become like, don't look at your ads like I want to put $1 in and just get like $5 back. Look at it like I want to spend as much as possible to acquire as many customers as possible, because of the lifetime of those customers is going to be worth so much more to me. And this is the difference between a brand doing 10K a month in revenue versus 100K or 500K a month in revenue. Is they understand their Facebook ads need to be like customer acquisition driven versus just like profitability. And like we've taken on brands where they're even unprofitable on the front end because they know that their lifetime value is so good. But that's their attitude. And that's a really good attitude to have, because they understand that they're happy to lose money in the front end because they'll make so much more in the back. But obviously, us as a media buying agency, we want to get their front end profitable so that they can really scale up their ads even further to acquire more customers. Because if you're not profitable to your cold traffic, you can't really scale your brand, because eventually you're just going to run out of cash on your front end because you can't just put money into it. But if you're actually profitable on your first touch point with cold traffic, you literally can just scale your business up into a point. And then obviously, you got to combat that with better media buying strategies, creatives, maybe different products, depending on your level of ad spend, the customer service experience, lifetime value. To kind of come back in full circle and answer your question purely, it's like, what are the really good brands doing? They've got a really good back end, and, actually maximizing their lifetime value with those customers that they're acquiring.
Yeah. You brought up a good point as well, where, you mentioned you have to be profitable enough to effectively be able to liquidate your ad spend so that you can increase your spend and continue to scale your brand. Otherwise, it's all going to be out of pocket. So I guess it's really like it's striking a balance between being profitable enough to pay off your ad spend and cover your bills and continue to grow. But if you're too profitable, it means effectively you're probably not reinvesting. You're not scaling anywhere near as hard as you could be, and stuff like that. So that's cool. All right, let's steer away from that now, because I want to talk about something else that you've become quite involved in, particularly with our clients now recently, and that's the creatives, and actually making creative suggestions and consulting with clients on the creative side of things. What is working right now? Again, with these bigger brands that are doing 10 grand a day in spend, what's working now on the creative front, and what should people be considering when it comes to their creatives?
Yeah, so when it comes to the creative, right, like we're honestly seeing things that convert higher are like, you don't need professional, incredible thousands of dollars photo shoots and stuff like that. And like this, it depends brand to brand, but I would say majority of the brands that are kind of transitioning to more kind of like organic style, real, customer feel based creative and content are the ones winning. And like, I just always kind of bring it back to just pull away everything and just think about it. Like, if you're a customer looking to buy a product, like, what's the main thing that you want to, that you need to be convinced by? It's like, you just need to kind of like trust that this is a legit product and brand, and you're going to have a good experience with it. And how, like, it doesn't matter all the fancy lighting and cameras and or anything that's going to, that's not going to convince you. It's just like, do you actually believe the video or the image or the messaging that you're watching? Is that true? And is that actually going to make you want to purchase the product? And how can you do that? You kind of need to connect to it, right? And again, I know I'm kind of layering back a few different things here, but when I kind of think about the creatives and what we're seeing convert really well, and I mean, I'm in a bunch of these different creative groups where people are sharing it all, and we're seeing what's converting and stuff like that. And the main thing is, it's just like, it's more like that user generated or just real kind of content where like people believe that it's like legit. Like, I feel like the market's transitioned from, it used to be like really high quality, like incredibly, massive photo shoots and like all these, epic videos that probably spent so much money on like the commercial style stuff, right? And people like have gone, the market's moved on past that. It's like, we know this is like a commercial. This doesn't feel real versus like legit customers. And if you could, like, the best customers and the best clients we have they have like really epic user generated content from their legit customers that are sharing their experience of their brand, why they love the product, what problems were they having that made them want to buy the product, how does that product solve those problems, what benefits do they get from it. It's like a whole brand experience. And I kind of categorize like a video style when I talk to our clients and give them advice. I say, like, if you can put together like a brand experience video where someone's literally going through, and like it could literally be like the second that they get the product and they're unboxing it, they're talking about why they bought it, what their experience with the brand, the benefits of the product, why they've been using it for so long. They've told so many people about it. Like, if you can get a customer share that kind of experience with you guys, and you get video of that and actually put that into ads, like, that stuff's absolutely gold, and that's legit and true. That's the best kind of stuff, right? And that's like a full product experience video. And the best kind of people for those videos are like your most loyal customers. And you can easily incentivize your loyal customers, because people kind of get lost sometimes. And you can always tell the difference between like a really serious brand versus just people that are like, they're new, or they're scared, or whatever it is. Because a real serious brand will be happy to give a product, or literally give away something to their really loyal customers in exchange for a video like this. Other people are saying things like, oh, no, I don't want to give it to them because then it costs me money and I have to worry about the content. Like, if you have the mindset of, I'm going to like give this, this item or whatever to this customer in exchange for this video, that video is going to make you so much more in the future from your actual ad spend. So just to kind of really give you some tangible stuff with the creative, you really just want to, like, the main things that are working good is, what's really working is if you can get multiple videos or images from customers using your product, unboxing it, talking about it, just small segments, and you're kind of like mashing this stuff together. These kind of videos work really well. It's like a collage video. And why they work so well is you're hitting different people are showing up in this video, sharing little bits and pieces of their experience with your brand. And this is really specifically going to hit different portions of your market, because every different person out there that could buy your product, there's a different reason why they haven't bought your product yet, right? And there's always objections that they have that you kind of need to handle for them to actually buy your product. And if you put together this like collage video of this customer sharing their quick experience, and then this customer sharing a benefit, and this solution and benefit, like all this collage of all these different customers sharing their experience with your brand, it hits all these different potential segments of your market that your ads are just out there sharing. You're spending money, it's going out to these people, and each one of those little segments might resonate with some person. One person might watch the first 5 seconds, it doesn't quite resonate with them, but the next 5 seconds it does. But that first 5 second resonates with someone else. And like, you can see that if you're putting together these creatives, you're really, and this is like, for those brands really spending large. Like, if you're just like really kind of smaller and starting, you might go really narrowed onto like, this is our absolute ideal customer, really narrowing onto creatives for this specific target audience. But when you're really growing big, you can kind of play around and test all these things, because you've already gone through that initial stage of figuring out your ideal customers, and then you're putting together these kinds of videos. I know that was kind of a long-ish answer to it, but I hope that gives you some advice around it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right. So before we wrap things up, what's one thing from what you've seen in all these accounts and stuff, the one piece of advice that you would give as a blanket piece to brand owners and e-commerce brands that want to scale?
I think that the main thing that you're going to have to focus on moving forward with advertising, like, obviously your media buying needs to be good, but you need to have good creative, right? And if you've got really good creative, your media buying can take it to huge levels of spend. If you've got shit creative, your media buying can't take it so far. So getting creative is like really crucial. And everything I've talked about user generated content, like, if you could have a system in place, and like you did this with one of your brands, where essentially you were sending out the product, then you would offer them a free product in exchange for content, or them sharing it on their Instagram, or both. And then they would share it, they would give you content, you would send them this free item, and their content out there would get more customers. And you essentially created like this creative loop where you're getting creatives from your customers by giving them a free product. Those new creatives go into your ads, get more customers, and it's just a continual cycle. And you're just continually getting new creatives. And you can just, by having this out there, you have full access to just so many images and videos and content that you can just continually pump into your ads. And then that's just going to spiral you up and grow. So the biggest piece of advice I can have is like, try and somehow in your brand put together a strategy to get creatives from your clients. And like, a week offer is, oh, we'll give you 20% discount if you leave us a photo or a video or a review. Or if you've got like a low ticket item, you could just give them for free. If you leave us or if you send us a video or whatever, we'll literally send you this free product. That's the best way you can get content. That's exactly what you did with this brand. So that would be my advice for you.
Yeah, so I got that from High Smile. They did that really, really well. When their teeth whitening kit arrives, it's got like a little card inside that says, post your before and after results, and we'll give you a free teeth whitening pen valued at $40 or whatever. And these teeth whitening pens literally cost 50 cents. So for 50 cents, you're getting an invaluable piece of content and creating that positive feedback loop. Plus, other customers are talking about you, and you're creating social chatter. So there is so much more to it than just the media buying. The media buying is just the means of distribution of that content. But it's super multifaceted, and people need to focus on more than just that. So anyway, man, thanks for coming on the show and dropping your pearls of wisdom. Before we go, where can people find you, or how can they get in touch if they want to continue the dialogue?
Yeah, so probably the best way to find me is just on Facebook or Instagram. It's just my name, Daniel Baldasso, and just search me up there. Send me a friend request, send me a message, whatever. If you've got any questions, happy to have a chat.
Excellent. And if people want to work with us, where do they go?
Best way to go there is just go to the dimnico.com website, or you can go dimnico.com/scale, and we will be happy to have a call with you guys if you're qualified, and we can actually talk about potentially working together.
Too good. Great to have you, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
See you later.